Sorry,
You go ahead,
go ahead.
Archana. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to know what about your training? How did you train, and when did you, at what age were you training for uh,
Well,
music?
surprisingly, I mean, me, I've not been professionally trained. The thing is
Ah,
that most of us, most of us back from home, we are very inclined towards music, and I've been playing music, for quite a while. I mean, since I was in high school, so we've been into this music for quite some time. So personally, for me, you can say that I've been basically self-trained, but
wow.
we do have a lot of professionally trained members in the
Hmm.
choir, and who
Hmm.
are actually the backbone of the choir itself. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Can you tell us
Yes.
some of the members
Ah,
in your choir? We understand, like, I'm sure that you have people who come and go, but there must be some members who are quite central to the choir. If you can tell us a bit about them, who they are, what they do.
Sure. Well, the choir consists mainly, like you have rightly said, a lot of people now who are professionally trained and who are working as teachers in various schools and institutes. Many of them have been trained abroad, and so they are either looking after the choral music program in various schools that we have initiated. Now it's been about 2011-12 is when we started off this whole thing, of initiating choral music program in schools. And so we do have people who are professionally trained, and not just in choral music. But I think the unique thing about this Al Naga choir is that many of them, I would say, majority of them are also, they play some kind of solo instruments. So you would
wonderful.
be able to, from this big choir that we have, we could actually break up into smaller ensembles. You could also have a jazz band. You could have a small
Yeah.
pop band. You could have a blues band. So that is I think the USP of this choir, that individually they are also trained solo instrumentalists. So that is one of the USP of the choir. Besides that, we have a lot of university students who are studying in Delhi, and also working professionals. We have some who are also working in the government, for example, but it's a passion that they want to sing together. So it's a mixed match, but it's become, we have grown together as a family now. So that is what the choir is right now.
Another thing that I was quite interested to read was your wide range of repertoire that you have within the choir and the kind of music that you do.
Yeah,
And there was a mention of doing operas and operettas.
yeah.
Um, where do your musicians learn these skills from? And um, do you find that there's quite a high demand for such music in India?
Well, like I said, some of our choristers have been trained professionally abroad, so that is the area that they excel in, and so as and when we can, we try and dabble with that. But yeah, I mean, these are areas where I think in the country, I mean, we are slowly coming around to having a crowd which is appreciative of this kind of music. It's not, I would say, a very popular or a common kind of genre of music that you would see in the regular performances, for example. But yes, we do have a select crowd of people who would love to come and watch such kind of performances. So for example, in our concert, we would have little bits of everything, so that people who come to listen to us may not be a really hardcore classical oriented listeners or viewers. So we try to give them a little bit of everything. So that's what we do.
After listening to all this, I can almost not wait to hear what you have for us. Sounds
So
so.
this brings to me my next question, that
Yeah.
do you think that and how can we create more awareness among um, the where we live, like in NCR and in the rest of the country, for this kind of music, so that more and more children who are and youngsters who are not necessarily from Nagaland, but who would want to, get
Yeah.
into and learn and be exposed to this music.
So one thing that we have started doing now is most of the members of the choir, like I said, they are also working as teachers in some of very good schools, who understand and share the same passion and vision that we have of creating this wide pool of young boys and girls. I would say the next generation of people who would, appreciate this kind of music. And so we have introduced choral singing traditions in the schools. These are some of the programs that we have initiated. And yeah, comes to which, many a times we have also had our struggles in, having a choir of maybe 20, 30 choristers going on a tour is not a very, is not a very easy thing,
Yes.
financially as well
Yes.
as logistically. So that is one of the main problems that we face together. And I think
Hmm.
if we can have, an appreciative or an organization such as SPIC MACAY, which we have been really grateful for, of giving us, wonderful opportunities that we can perform, not just in India. I mean, not just in Delhi, but even places like Kochi and these places that,
Hmm.
for us,
Hmm.
are such a wonderful experience to be with SPIC MACAY. So I think these are wonderful opportunities for any young people who are interested in this genre of music, that we can,
Hmm. Hmm.
find a wider range of appreciative crowd as well as platforms. I think that is one
Right.
area that we can. I mean,
Yes.
considering the fact that most of our folkloric traditions and, folk stories and everything, especially when it comes to indigenous populations, it's
Hmm.
all oral traditions. A lot of it is in
Yes.
form of folk songs, and folk songs not need not necessarily in a solo kind of context, but especially for tribals, it is a
Yeah.
community kind of a thing. So somebody would sing, and then the whole community will sing along. So these are the
Yes.
kind of things that we would like to explore and look about potential, because a lot of the stories are
Hmm.
in the songs that we have. And sometimes when we go for international events, we see some of these big heavyweights in terms of people who bring so much of gold and silver and big awards to their countries, based a lot on the folkloric traditions of the Indian heritage exports. I mean, whether the theme is based on Ramayana and Mahabharata, for
Hmm.
example. But surprisingly, we don't have choirs and of those calibers from India that go out
Right.
and compete in such kind of events.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can encourage this kind of a tradition, I'm sure
Hmm.
in times India will also be bringing a lot of gold and silver medals in the international events. That we have this choir festivals, and choir festivals where they have so many range of other music, and folkloric tradition is a very
Hmm.
strong
Hmm.
genre of music where Southeast Asia excels. And
Yes, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
we can really do something about that also. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's you've pointed out something which is very, very important, and I think we need to work towards it consciously.
Yes.
Yes.
May I ask, what are some of the instruments that you use within your choir? What are some of the, there might be backdrop music or there might be the focus of a particular folk song. What are some of the instruments that you use?
Well, I think the strength of the choir is that we do most of our repertoires as a cappella. So
Oh,
yeah, so that's our strength. We do a lot of a cappella, and where we would have maybe a solo instrument to back us up, maybe with an acoustic piano. But like I said, besides that, we have also within the choristers who are trained violinists. We have people who play the cello. We have people who play classical guitar. A whole range of instruments our members can play. But like I initially said, I think one of our strength is singing a cappella. Yeah,
mhm.
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting.
In
Also,
fact,
speaking about, yeah, please go ahead.
most of the songs that you're going to hear today will be a cappella. So,
Ah, we are really
yeah.
excited and looking forward to this because actually these opportunities don't come across as often.
Yes.
And
So it's kind of interesting when we go to to a venue and people ask, "What is your technical rider?" and we say, "Well, we don't need anything."
Wow.
We just need to have an open space and sing. So they're
Absolutely.
kind of, it's easy for to host an
Yeah,
out choir concert. So I would say that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Modi ji has been saying, our Prime Minister, that, be self sufficient and be Atmanirbhar. So, yes, you are already on that path.
Yeah, folkloric folk songs, for example, we do a lot,
Yes,
clicking our fingers and whistling
yes,
and making a lot of,
exactly.
natural whatever
Mm.
through the mouth. So we are
Mm.
self-sufficient in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how often and do you meet, and do you rehearse, or how is that
I
process?
think one thing that we're really missing in this pandemic is our weekly get-togethers.
Yeah,
But yeah,
true.
we meet once a week, and
Okay.
preferably it's on a weekend. So it's a
Mm.
time for us to, connect the heavy week of workload that we have in various fields, get together, and it's a time to kind of reconnect and, maybe over a plate of meal that we have together, we rehearse songs, and it's a kind of nice time that we can fellowship together. So I think it's a very strong thing, and for tribal thing, it's always nice to get together over a meal and discuss
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
a
of things.
community thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yes.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very true.
Have you been doing some virtual meetups in the last few months?
Not really. I think that's one area that we have really we have not done that. Yes, but we are really looking forward to. Um, we tried once or twice, but could never take it off. But I think we must. We are looking
Mm.
seriously to that. Yeah.
I think today's session and the performance that we will be seeing post the interaction, I think that should give some traction, and
I
maybe.
hope so. I hope so. I hope my members are also watching as we speak right now, and I hope
Mm,
they
yes.
get the message across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, talking of your challenges, you said that we would like to know uh, about your challenges that you face. Of course, distance and the fact that there is not as much awareness as we would want there to be,
Yeah.
and from the next generation also. So, if you would like to throw some light on that.
Hmm. Well, one thing I can say that for us, it's always been a wonderful experience that whenever we have traveled, not just abroad, but
Yeah,
even within India.
yeah.
I mean, one is because I think our looks. So a lot of people are very inquisitive. They want to find out, how is it that you are from India? But that kind of opens up a door for us to
Mm,
really start,
mm,
the conversations, and it
mm,
has, really worked wonders in places where, uh, we have been able to speak a lot about our unique Indian culture, and I
mhm,
think that is something that we have really enjoyed doing that as
mm,
ambassadors of Indian culture that we have,
mm,
like you rightly said. And I remember an incident where in Salzburg, where all the nations had to get together before the festival itself, and we were supposed to fly our flags. So we were holding on proudly to the Indian flag, and then we
yeah.
had a whole bunch of Indian tourists who were there, who were commenting in Hindi saying that, these are Chinese, these are not Indians. My wife,
uh,
my daughter was very offended.
yeah, I'm sure.
being,
I'm sure.
being born
Yeah.
and brought up in Delhi, she walked across and
Yes.
she spoke in chaste Hindi, saying that, we are Indians and we are not Chinese.
I'm sure.
So, but that
Yeah.
just opened up a lot of
Yeah.
doors.
Yes, I think we need a lot of awareness is required within the country itself, which we are reminded time and again that there's a whole lot of population who is not aware of, because India is so diverse, in looks, in cuisine, in music, that just to be aware of all the variety that India has to offer in itself is a challenge for all Indians.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Landon is having some trouble with his connectivity, but I think
Yes.
it might be a good time to switch to the music.
Yes. I think maybe we'll we can just wait for a minute, and so that we can officially and formally thank him for the interaction and then proceed for the performance. I think he's having issues with perhaps the internet or something.
Yes, he seems to have dropped off.
Okay. So we would like to thank him, Mr. Lanu Yaden, who is the founder member and who's taking forward this Ao Naga choir. And let's join and now watch the performance that's waiting. I'm really excited for that.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
thank you, Tavishi. Thank you. And let's go ahead for the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Abhishek, are you there?
Look at the world, everything all around us. Look at the world and marvel every day. Look at the world. Asli macam rara yang utetoni dan makai bersama yang termencir sisawani marani sengacap cecekau.
My heart is steadfast to you, O God.
Glory be to God on high.
I will sing praises, Lord, with my soul.
Glory be to God on high.
Awake, harped lyre, awaken the dawn. Awake, all my soul, unto God alone. Awake, all ye people, and sing a new song. Glory be to God, and we sing.
Glory be to God on Glory be to God on high.
I will give thanks to thee, O Lord.
Glory be to God on high.
I will sing praises to thee, O Lord.
Glory be to God on high.
For thy loving kindness is great above the heavens, and thy truth reaches to the skies. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Glory be to God, and we sing.
Glory be to
tera, kabairara kainga, patuoa tera, kabairara kainga, patuoa tera, kabairara kainga, patuoa tera, kabairara kainga, patuoa tera, kabairara kainga, kabairara kainga, Hutia te rito te hara ke keike, he te ko make o ko, ki mahi ki aha te mai rue o iko maku I eki, he tangata, ti he mauri ora, whiti whano, hara mai te koki, umi e hui e, trai ki e.
धन्यवाद साथियों। अब से ठीक 5 मिनट के अंदर हम लोग मिलेंगे गुरबानी के साथ, जिसमें हमारे साथ होंगे श्री अलंकार सिंह जी। तब तक आप सभी से गुजारिश है कि अपनी पामिंग एक्सरसाइजेज ज़रूर करें और 5 मिनट के बाद अपने ब्राउज़र को एक बार रिफ़्रेश कर या फिर इसको क्लोज़ कर दोबारा खोलने का कष्ट करें।